So I need to sing like Ray Charles. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
There you go.
Right on. Peace, everybody. How you guys doing? It's good to see you. Thank you for coming out. Thanks to Canadates for coming out on a nice, hot day here on Vashon Island. Like they said, my name is Lem Charleston. I'm running for Senate in the 34th District. I'd like you to know a little bit about me. I've been a pastor for well over 26 years, minister for 26 years, a pastor for 16 years. I'm currently a SPD chaplain. It's a busy job. Also spent my time in the United States Marines serving my country. I work at Boeing as an FAA coordinator, making sure the airplanes are correct. I worked on our employees community fund, making sure that the poor and needy homeless had enough to eat and a place to live. My passion is, of course, education, homelessness, and just people in general. I have a heart and I love people. I don't know why I was born this way, but I think it's a good way to be born because you guys are the most valuable asset on the planet. Thank you.
That will allow you to successfully navigate that environment.
Well, the reason I'm a community chaplain is because the police department, communities of color, got together and, thank you. What about backup? I love that. We got together and we said that there's a huge contention between people of color and between the police officers. We all have perceptions and emotion, and it is a highly in charge environment between people of color and the police officers. And it's been a long-standing thing that's been going on since probably the 1800s. So they decided to get pastors in the community to work as associate chaplains with the police department to try to bridge the gap and bring both sides together. Day by day, not just every once in a while, day by day, we go out into the communities and we have to deal with the emotions of a shooting where a white officer shoots a person of color. You have to be able to calm that environment, and we're talking not only spiritually but physically emotionally charged people. You have to be able to calm and squelch that environment. And as a union steward for over 20 years, I had to do the same thing between management and hourly workers. And you talk about differences between the two. It doesn't get violent, but it gets verbal. As a union steward, you have to remember that you work for the company and you want to make sure that the union is satisfied as well. Those are the things that I think I can take to the legislator because they're not going to be too violent, I hope. And they may get loud, but I think we can come together and meet a middle ground.
Thank you.
Interests, of course, are education, homelessness, and healthcare. Those are areas that actually revolve, and sometimes one is more important than the other depending on what situation you're involved in. As a way to take care of that, I have to agree a state bank is something that North Dakota's been doing since 1919. We've got plenty of experience from them to talk with them and see how that would work here. Would put tons of money in our coffers here. I think we need to hold politicians accountable for what they do with the money that we already give them. We have almost $700 million we got $700 million in different things going out for the lottery and different other things we got going, and we have a lot of money left over from that. Nobody really knows where that ends up. I think we need to hold our politicians accountable for what they do with that money, but we need to make sure that the basics are taken care of. We need to make sure everybody has a decent place to live. They get a good education, and if they get sick, they can get themselves taken care of.
Thank you, Lem.
The 34th is an unbelievably complex district. You have millionaires on one end, and 10 minutes to the west, you have people actually living on the streets. It's almost disgusting if you're a foreigner and you see that. You want to be able to address both ends of that with equal fervor and be able to make sure the millionaires are happy about their property taxes and the homeless have a place to live. It shouldn't be such a diverse deal then. Of course, universal health care for everybody that needs it. This is not a third world country. We have some of the best physicians in the world in this country, and a lot of them are right up on Pill Hill here in Seattle. So health care shouldn't be a problem for anyone to get without all the bureaucracies of insurance and all that other monkey business that goes in the way. I would look at fixing those things by obviously having a state bank, but by educating people on the things that are available to them. You'd be stunned at how many people suffer because they don't know the things that are available to them. As Joe said, over 600 different options are available to folks. I think education is the key. And while we're on the fact of education, I think our schools, especially pre-K, are the biggest bang for the buck. When I was a trustee for ECF, that was one of the main things we wanted to focus on was children before they got into kindergarten. You want to be able to start them out the way that they should go. The scripture tells you to train up a child in the way that it should go, and when it's old, it won't depart. If you take that literally, you'll understand that when you educate them in a certain manner, teach them to study at a certain age, they'll be able to maintain that all the way through college and have a successful life. Thank you.
Thank you, Lem. Yeah, you got one.
Look, I got a little thing. It only takes like 10 seconds. A youth jail is a community fail. I don't appreciate a youth jail. What are you telling your kids? So if you don't act right, you're going over to that big house over there where there's all kind of heathenistic thuggery going on. A youth jail is a community fail. I'm totally against those. If there was a police department that was specifically put together to lock up criminals that are part of our federal government, they would make millions of dollars and they'd run out of space. As a legislator, I would make sure to expose their idiosyncrasies and be able to let the citizens who have the vote, because we're the 99%. They might have the money, but we got the physical power. We got the vote. It's that 99% that can actually change more than they believe they can change. I would hold the federal government completely accountable. Penalize them. Let them know that your lips will be on the chopping block when we catch you. Because the only reason we don't know what they're doing is they keep it hid from us. I think transparency is something as a goal of a legislator. Let everybody know what you're doing, because when I was younger, my folks used to say that, hey, if you weren't lying, you wouldn't be shaking. So a lot of times you see your federal government shaking when they're talking because their lips are moving and they're usually lying. We need to stop that.
Thank you, Lem. In other words, our only source of water is rain. How would you describe your general inclination toward protecting Vashon's natural resources, including water, versus making the most of residential growth here?
The general inclination for preserving our water supply is we all get thirsty. We all want to drink clean water. We don't want to end up like the situation they had on Mercer Island a few years ago where they had E. coli in the water. And that's an entire island that had to suffer from all kind of nonsense. Vashon Island is a gorgeous place to live. It's a gorgeous place to look at. And if you can't drink water on this island, where are you going to get your water from? How much are you guys willing to pay for it? How much hassle are you going to go through just to get water? I mean, 50 years ago, it would be an insult to someone to tell them you're going to buy bottled water. Right now, we're buying bottled water. And a lot of that bottled water is worse than the water we get out of the tap. A lot of people don't do that study. I would work hard to make sure that the rainwater and every other drop of water you get on this island was good and perfect for everybody to drink, especially our children.
Thank you, Lem.
These incredible candidates. If I wasn't running, there'd be a bunch of them that I'd be voting for as well. I'd like to combine us all together, have a nice tan-colored, wild-haired colored candidate that we could send to Olympia that would fix this for the 34th district once and for all. But I'm running because I see things that need to be done, and I think they can be done better. I believe in this community. I believe in this district. I know we have the intelligence. I know we have the capability and the know-how. That's why we come up with the slogan, I believe we can do better. Because I'm not satisfied with the way things are going. Things are going backwards. You know, as a United States Marine, we were always taught to innovate, improvise, do the best you can with what you have, and make it even better if you possibly can. I don't see any difference with me going to the Senate and doing the exact same thing with this community. Use the resources here, the intellect here, to make this the best place in the world to live. And I hope to do that if you send me to Olympia as your senator. Thank you.